What is going on, everyone? Today we have a crazy situation going on with Bricc Baby. So there's a situation going around right now involving the rolling 60s, and word is one of their own actually gave the feds video of Bricc Baby allegedly shooting at an op, man. That's wild because Bricc Baby has already been locked up for a while now, and now new evidence like this resurfacing just makes his case look a lot worse, right? But what's actually catching people's attention is how Big U's name keeps popping up in the middle of all of this. Now, if you've been following the LA streets or politics, you already know who Big U you already know Big U has been accused of a lot of things lately, right? Some people even trying to tie him into Nipsey Hussle's death, saying there's something deeper going on behind the scenes. I'm not saying it's confirmed, but it's timing and the way information just keeps dropping. It's definitely not looking good at all, right? Especially when it's starting to look like people from his own circle, maybe even from his own set, might might have been cooperating with the feds or leaking evidence, you know what I mean? And that part, that's wild to me, I'm not gonna lie, because when you think about it, the Rolling 60s are one of the most respected sets out there. So to hear about this level of snitching or betrayal happening inside of their own camp just shows how messy and dangerous the situations has gotten, right? Between Bricc Baby's case and the Big U allegations, and now this federal video situation, it feels like the whole narrative around the 60s and that circle is starting to get darker and more complicated by the day, man. But crazy situation. But let's just dive into the video, see what's going on.
Listen, man, the streets is cold, bruh. The streets is not for the weak, homie. Now, it's been confirmed, all right? A Rolling 60 Crip from an organization that Bricc Baby has essentially given his life to told on Bricc Baby. I'm not a gang member, I'm a civilian, all right? So maybe it's not my place to speak on this, but I feel like I kind of have to because loyalty means something. And the fact that Bricc Baby gave his entire life to a particular organization, and the fact that somebody from that organization would do him this dirty, would do him this bad. And I'll even go further to say, yo, they're part of the reason this entire Fed case is even on Bricc Baby. Back in 2022, Bricc Baby was going by his day conducting some business. Now, while conducting business, some trouble found him. Now, it's believed that Bricc Baby was conducting business within the 60s, right? Or within an adjacent neighborhood, somewhere he felt safe at. When he was conducting business there, two men approached Bricc Baby. Now, it was unclear what the conflict was about or why those two men approached Bricc Baby, but apparently those two men was familiar with Bricc Baby. There was some rapport there. You can probably make your assumption. Who would Bricc Baby be familiar with that would approach him with conflict within 60s territory? If you look at the court documents, this incident in July of 2022 was mentioned several times in Bricc Baby court documents. Now, the document says defendant is now charged with multiple counts of possessing firearms and ammunitions, all in violation of 18 USC. The first charge stems from defendant shooting 3 bullets in a business parking lot in July of 2022 to ward off would-be robbers. Now, this is tricky warding, right? Because Bricc Baby was never charged with the actual shooting. Bricc was never charged with shooting somebody. However, what the feds said was, listen, we found ammunition that belongs to that gun that Bricc Baby fired in the business parking lot in July of 2022. Well, then you have to ask yourself, hold on. How did the feds have record of this? Bricc was never charged for this, never arrested for this. How did the feds know that Bricc Baby fired a firearm in a business parking lot within the 60s? How did they know this? Like, he was never arrested, police were never called, like there was no record of this. The only people who had record of this was Bricc Baby and others around Bricc Baby. Well, we'll get to how the feds knew about this shortly after, right? So then the feds go on and talk about his other charges. The second charge involves all the firearms and ammunition found at his home in June of 2023. Both of these charges followed 5 felony convictions from 2010, 2012, 2014, 2016, and 2020. Goddamn. Respectfully, while the pretrial services report includes a long criminal history with out-of-state convictions. When Bricc Baby went for bond, the feds said, yo, he shouldn't get a bond because of his violent history, and they referenced this particular instance. And the Fed says defendant's offenses: possessing multiple firearms on multiple occasions and over 125 rounds of ammunition, some of which he fired, are serious. That defendant fired at would-be robbers in a business parking lot and less than a year later was found with firearms after purportedly pointing them at his partner and child, only confirmed that the defendant should not be possessing firearms. Well, how did the feds know this happened? There's no record. He was never arrested for it. He was never brought in and questioned by the local police for it. How did the feds know this incident was even a thing? Well, here's what happened, okay? When the feds had Bricc Baby on wiretap, when they were investigating Bricc Baby, somebody approached them and gave them a tape of this shooting. Somebody had possession of this tape. Now you ask yourself, how did they get possession of the tape? They weren't there. It was Bricc Baby, 2 dudes. They ran off and Bricc Baby fired shots and he hopped in his whip and he left. No, this person had access to the business cameras, right? The local business owners, the mom and pop shops that were there, they had cameras. And because this was an incident that took place within the 6-0s, amongst 6-0s, a 6-0 had access to those cameras. A 6-0 got that tape. A 6-0 held that tape in their possession. And a 6-0 told Bricc, hey, I got this tape. Now, if you know anything about the situation or you were even connected to it, you know Bricc Baby was kind of concerned that somebody was telling on him. He just always felt it. Like, he always felt like, man, bro, like, I'm loyal to certain niggas, man, but it don't feel like they loyal to me. And like, he kind of went from being around certain people and said, nah, man, F it, bro. I'm by myself now. Man, bro, like, they flawed. And the reason why Bricc Baby kind of broke off a lot of relationships prior to his arrest, because he knew they turned him in. They told on him. They gave the tape to the feds of him firing that firearm. But luckily for Bricc Baby, the feds never charged him with firing the firearm. They charged him with being a felon in possession of a firearm. And when they raided his crib, which, by the way, they raided his crib and they found ammunition that they're tying to that shooting, as you just read. Now, if you listen to Bricc Baby's first jail call, before I knew this story, like, that first jail call was always cryptic to me. I never quite understood it. But that first jail call, if you listen to it, Bricc Baby lays it all out. He tells a story of betrayal. He tells a story of being the only real one in a sea of fakes. And when you re-listen back to that jail call Bricc Baby first made on his first call from jail, it all makes sense now. They told on him, they ratted on him, they turned him in. People very close to Bricc Baby. And it's not cool and it's not right. And hopefully, after bro's sentencing, hopefully when this entire case is finally done with and bro know how much time he's getting, we can finally unravel a lot.
Say this, all of this started November 2020. They let Blue Jesus out of the county jail, man. I came home to a lose-lose situation, man. You know what I mean? One of my best friends, coming up on the day of all the stuff that's happening, I'm sitting back on my bunk and I'm sitting there just going through stuff, and one of my best friends and my brother got into a mean incident that turned out crazy, man. And My best friend still my road dog, whether he here or gone. And I ain't even had a chance to mourn him publicly on the streets because everybody tags me with another man's business. You know what I mean? Me and Eric have nothing to do with each other. You get what I'm saying? Me and Nipsey are, it's like you guys are closing me out to where I can't even love my brother the right way or mourn for my brother the right way. I think the world kept had they dukes up against me from the get-go. You know what I mean? Right now I look back at all the hate on the streets. The internet really didn't know till I opened them up, but as soon as I came home, it was everybody against me. Everybody against me. The record deals, the record labels, all my homeboys in the industry, all of them. It didn't matter who it was. They were scared to be out with me publicly unless it was YSL. They were scared for me to come around because of my name being connected to that. I had no win. So you sit back and you watch all the hate. Blind stares from a million pairs of eyes. And they screaming, put him down. Oh yeah, they running parades at the Bricc Baby in jail. You know what I mean? These are all the same people. Gotta pay attention. I can't talk too much, but you gotta understand. This has nothing to do with what I'm going through right now. But deep thoughts, it's like, where did everybody start hating me? Where did you start hating Bricc Baby? Cause I got a whole lot of people that love me, but where did you start hating me? Cause everybody got a biased opinion of the Bricc after they figured out the relationship. I'm gonna let that sit there because I don't want to, you know what I mean? Even to the point to where the people that still represent the Marathon Foundation and the All Money In Foundation, you know what I mean? They resent the Bricc and they deal with people that hated Nip. And they know they did, but since he died, they've been being riders, meat eaters, you know what I mean, to the association and coming around just for the celebration, man, and y'all forgetting all the past events that happened, because I really was there. But that is, you know, we're not going to talk about nothing in specific over this horn. Rest in peace to my boy, though. That day coming up in his heart every time. I never celebrate this day. You going to see people celebrating this day. Pay attention. You know what I mean? Second, these people out here.
This call is from a federal prison.
That's over with, so I'm not even connecting this conversation to that, right? But everybody out there be begging for the title. Everybody begging for the title, but they name never get called, right? You know what I mean? You out there, you super representing this your section, this area. Y'all can have it. Y'all can have it. I'm just trying to figure out why they name don't never get called. And the real ones don't never catch no break like you dudes that say that y'all real ones. Y'all tack on 1 million different extra joints a year. Just be right there, you know what I'm saying? Everybody want the title, you know what I mean? But the name never get called, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't help it. That, you know what I mean?
Take that how you want to take it. But this ain't right what they did to Bricc, man. This ain't right. And hopefully he gets to speak on it sooner than later. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, all right? And if you're still watching this video, click on this video right here to find out how this...
Alright, well, that is the end of the video. If you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content, man. Let me know what y'all think. But yeah, that's not even the craziest part of the video, right? He was also on No Jumper. Bricc Baby, we all know he was on No Jumper doing interviews, crashing out, and just going viral for all the wrong reasons, right? But what's even crazier is the talk that's been going around about Adam22, which is the owner of No Jumper, right? there's been a lot of allegations that he might be a snitch, man. Or he's been bringing people on the show, on his podcast, just to get them to talk too much, basically snitching on themselves on camera. And the next thing you know, they're magically, in jail, right? Now, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that turned out to be true, because Adam22 himself admitted he's been struggling financially, right? He said he went bankrupt, or he's gonna go bankrupt. I don't know too much about that situation, and lately he hasn't been popping or going viral like he used to, right? And what makes it worse, he even put his own wife out there just for some temporary clout and a quick viral moment, right? That's sad, man. It really shows the desperation and how far people will go just to stay relevant. So if it ever came out that Adam22 really was working with the feds, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked at all, because at this point, with everything he's been doing just to stay in the spotlight, there's really no telling what he'd do next, right? There's really no telling what he'd do just to stay relevant, just to keep his pockets flowing, right? At the end of the day, I'm not saying Adam22 had something to do with this situation. I'm just telling you what's been circling around, what's happening, man. And if he did have something to do with this situation, all I'm saying is I would not be surprised. But let me know what y'all thought about this whole situation. Like I did mention, if you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content. Without further ado, peace out.